was blocked, another one shanked because of a bad snap, but he's back to his old step.
All right, and we're back with
Busting Heads Boxing.
all right, and this is Darrell, and this is
Will.
all right, and this is the bonus. Let's talk about Paul Williams versus Ronald Winky Wright, and this is in April 11th of this year. Is this a mistake by Paul Williams in a fight, right?
I believe so. I don't see what he has to gain by fighting Winky Wright. I mean, Winky hasn't fought in a year and a half, over a year and a half.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
And he's 37 years old now. So it's one of those situations where Paul beats Winky Wright, who cares? Paul loses to Winky Wright, what does that do for his career? He's not fighting for a title. I understand it's hard for him to find a fight, but I honestly believe if his people tried hard enough, he could get a fight with Kelly Pavlik for the middleweight title. He just have another tune-up fight. Winky Wright is not a tune-up guy, especially not at middleweight. And I understand. I just said he hasn't fought in a year and a half, but I still have the utmost respect for his fighting style. He's a defensive guy with a great jab, and he's a southpaw, just like Paul Williams is. So I don't understand like where Paul Williams is coming from by choosing this guy as his opponent.
Man, that's a real tough fight. I mean, I don't care if he hasn't fought in 2 years. Like before he fought Bernard Hopkins, man, he was considered one of the best per pound fighters in boxing. Yeah. I mean, with a record of 51-4, I mean, that's a tremendous record. I mean, it could go down just saying, look, on his resume, he fought Winky Wright. But I'm saying, I don't care. If he wins that fight, I mean, he's a dominant fighter. How many other fighters they can say that they beat Winky Wright?
Yeah, but the problem is, like I said, if he beats Winky Wright, people are going to say, oh, well, Winky hadn't fought in a year and a half and he was 37 years old. This isn't the Winky Wright, 6 months after he beat Trinidad or 6 months after he beat Mosley. This is Winky Wright a year and a half after he lost to Bernard Hopkins. This is he's an older fighter now. He's not a young guy anymore.
I mean, but let's just say, look, I mean, he beat Mosley. I mean, the first fight was just a straight domination of Mosley. I mean, he just outclassed Mosley.
He beat Mosley like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
This isn't. He hasn't been. I think the activity portion of it is really what's going to hurt Paul Williams and his reputation if he were to lose this fight.
And so let's say if Paul Williams KOs Winky Wright,
that would be saying something. I don't care. You wouldn't be able to complain about Winky, being inactive for a year and a half or his age if he gets KO because he's known for his defense. He's known for being able to protect his chin. So if Paul Williams were to KO Winky Wright, that would be saying something. But you don't go into a fight saying, if I KO this guy, then I'm going to get a lot of points for that. Especially when you're somebody like Paul Williams. His biggest problem right now is finding a fight. So if you're having problems finding a fight, you're a young fighter, and you're looking to make some money in the sport of boxing. Like, I don't see what he has to gain by fighting a guy who can potentially be over the hill, and a guy who hasn't been active for so long. I only see it's like he has everything to lose and nothing to gain by taking this fight. Like, I don't understand it.
I kind of like this fight in a weird way, like just that he's fighting Winky Wright, which is a real dangerous fight, man. And, very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
But I just let you know the character of Paul Williams, where he don't care who he fights.
He'll fight anybody.
He'll fight anybody.
He'll definitely.
And that's the type of fighter that I like to watch. A guy who just doesn't care and say, look, even though this is a risk, I'm gonna go ahead and fight this guy. because there's not a lot of fighters out there who will fight anybody. Sugar Shane is one of those guys who will fight anybody, and Paul Williams is turning out to be one of those guys as well, and we're with a record of 36-1. But kind of really is I don't really think it's that dangerous as far as, because Winky Wright is not known for as a knockout artist. He has a 44% knockout rate, and Paul Williams is up at 72 right now. So he really doesn't have to worry about being knocked out by a bigger guy.
I don't even think that matters. For me, it's just and with the politics involved in boxing right now, the fights that you get depend on your drawing power, pretty much. Whether or not you're going to be involved in those top-notch fights depend on your drawing power. And Paul Williams, I don't think beating Winky Wright is really going to do anything to improve his drawing power. I think if he'd be better served to fight, maybe a mid-level middleweight or somebody who's on the cusp of being a contender and knocking that guy out versus fighting Winky Wright and winning a close decision.
There's nobody out there who's willing to fight this guy.
I'm sure he could find a fight at middleweight.
And I think fighting Winky Wright, people know who Winky Wright is. And most diehard boxing fans know who Winky Wright is.
Yeah,
and I think maybe not a close win will boost Paul Williams. But if this is a dominating win by Paul Williams over Winky Wright, man, I think that will move his stock up and force some of these other guys to fight this guy or take notice. Because if this guy is out there and no one's fighting this guy first of all he beat Margarito, right? And then nobody wanted to fight him. And then after Margarito beat Cotto, everybody elected him as the greatest boxer of this era. You know what I'm saying? I mean, after he had a loss against Paul Williams. And I just think that right now, Paul Williams, this is a great fight. It might not have been the best fight for him at this time, but I think it took a lot of guts to even fight this guy, Winky Wright, because Winky Wright is the past Paul Williams. So I'm looking forward to this fight.
I think what's going to end up happening is real similar to, even though I don't like this guy, Joe Calzaghe, when he fought Roy Jones. He won the fight, but nobody really cared that he won the fight because everybody said he won because Roy wasn't the old Roy.
Right.
He didn't win because he was better than Roy Jones. He won because Roy wasn't the old Roy. And that's the same thing that's going to be the case if Paul Williams were to beat Winky Wright. No matter what fashion, outside of a knockout, no matter what fashion he wins, it's going to be he won because Winky isn't the old Winky. This is a washed-up Winky. This is a guy who's been inactive for a year and a half. And Winky has everything to gain and nothing to lose in this fight because of his age and the fact that he's been inactive. I'm sure he's going to be a huge underdog. Nobody's going to expect him to win. So he can just come in, have fun, let it all hang loose, and he can possibly put off a major upset and look great in the process just by doing it. And Paul Williams is giving him the opportunity.
All right. Give me your pick.
Like I said, the guy's been inactive for so long, and he's not known for throwing a high volume of punches. Winky Wright, that is. So I would have to go with Paul Williams because of his activity by decision. But I don't think it's gonna be a knockout or just blowing Winky Wright.
I'm going several knockdowns in the later rounds. TKO 11th round.
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams is gonna KO Winky Wright, man.
No way.
Because Winky Wright's legs look really shot his last fight.
No way. No way Paul knocks him out.
No way.
Absolutely no
11th round. Several knockdowns leading up. Probably the 9th round. Several knockdowns. Paul Williams KOs him 11th round. You heard it here on BustedHeadsBoxing.com. And we're going to play this again as soon as that occurs. All right, and y'all have a good evening. Any last words?
I was sick, but I'm dedicated.
All right. Next week, guys.